Alright guys, back. Another week done. First week of the playoffs. It's done. I mean, we still have Sunday night baseball, but the matchups look like they're wrapped up. Obviously, I'm pumped up, getting to the semis. And Ray, you're right there again. Right in it with that team. So congrats to you. I will talk about the consolation bracket because Efren, you pointed out the group me that I'm not giving any love to it, and I did say, that I would touch base on it in the first video. So I'll start with that in a minute or two. But I want to say cheers to Ray. Well done. And then let me take a toast to you. And then one for my homies, Dale, Joe. Good run. Joe, you got third place on the season. Got a little cash. I want to show you some love. I told you if you had beat Ray, this would be a Joe special. It would be all about Joe in this episode. We talked at the fair. Thanks for hanging yesterday. It was a good time. And we'll talk more about your matchup. But again, toast for my homies, Dale and Joe. Big ups to you. Great season. Dale made a hell of a run. Got into a top 5 team. We talked about it last week. You were DL guy, and but you stuck with your team. Won some big matchups towards the end. Went on I think 5 out of their last 7 weeks win streak. So toast to my homies, Dale, Joe. Great seasons. Got the Oktoberfest, just came out, scored on the last sixer. Here we go. And then today, for this video, last week I had Fernando, but I kept him because he's the shit, Fernando Mania. And the way the Dodgers are playing right now, it's a little mania right now in the NL West. So that being said, we got the man himself, the other best pitcher, one of the best pitchers, named, half a dozen off the top of your head for the Dodgers: Koufax, Fernando, Kershaw, Drysdale. But I got the Bulldog right here, one of my favorites. So, Oral, and no puns on the Oral joke, okay? Oral Hershiser, baby. And because the Dodgers need a little bit of magic, they're making some magic right now. Got magic right here. Get some magic, baby. So, yeah, let's kick it off with the consolation bracket. The winner of this gets $100. So let's not forget that. And again, we had 2 teams that had buys in Lewis and Moy. Moy, like I said, you have my pick to win. And if what we said last week with Dale, the buy people will play. The top seed in the buys will play, I guess what he said, it's possibly that the winner of the previous week who had the lowest point differential, the smallest point differential in their win, will play the 1 seed. So basically, if you dominated in your win and the other person who won that week didn't, and they had won by less points in their matchup, they will play the 1 seed, and the dominating team will play the 2 seed. So it's looking, Alejandro beat David 10-5, and Efren, you beat Eric 12-4. So Efren, it looks like you're going to be playing Moy, and then Lewis, you got Alejandro. Looking at that first, let's look at Efren's matchup since he is the one that wanted me to give them a little more love. Efren, great week. Damn, both teams, great week. Eric, big ups to you too. That offense line matchup looks really close. I was kind of looking at it, I had focus on my matchup, but 53 hits to 48 hits. I'm going to say Efren's stats first since he won. So 53 for Efren, 48 for Eric, 10 home runs to 11 home runs, 33 to 28 on RBIs, tied in stolen bases, walks 28-19. Just close matchup. Pitching wise, 2-1 on wins, tied in losses. And then everything else kind of was skewed towards Eric on the pitching side. Right down the middle. Efren won Efren won the pitching, and hitting was close though. So great matchup. Efren, you move on to the next round, and it looks like you are playing Moy. And then in the other matchup, we had Alejandro and David. I don't know how people are setting their lineups, So, but it looks like, considering Alejandro had 56 hits and 184 at bats, and David had 22 hits and 74 at bats, it's pretty clear, who managed their team. So Alejandro walked away with this matchup. The average working. David had a high average because he only had 74 at bats and 22 hits. So it's pretty clear who was in that matchup. So Alejandro, big ups to you. You will face Lewis because of your 10-5 win wasn't as good as a 12-4 win from Efren's team. So hey, it's $100, guys. Whether you want to call it chump change or what, hey, money's money. So if you paid $90 for your trades to trade draft picks, you're getting that money back. So take it. If it's on the table and people are going to give you wins, take it. So Efren, good win. Alejandro, good win. Moy and Lewis, set your lineups. Make it a competition. Have fun with it. You got another 2 weeks of this. And then, you can focus on fantasy football. Red Zone came back today, so it's good time to just set your lineup, enjoy the week, and let it play out. And then on Sunday, you can look at it while you're watching football. All right, now to the playoff matchups of playoff week 1. I'm going to start with Joe and Ray's matchup. Me and Joe talked a little bit at the LA County Fair yesterday. It was close. It was close the whole week. Me and Dale had pegged Ray as the pitching winner, but I think Joe surprised him on that. I think, one start separated the categories in that it was close all the way. DeGrom came through for Joe, so, that was clutch. And DeGrom is probably going to win the NL Cy Young. I mean, Scherzer, it could be a toss-up. But Joe, Ray's team got hot offensively. We kind of knew this was coming. Trout had an insane week. But you fought admirably. So, well done, Joe. But Ray with that 306 average. 53 hits. Everything else, was close. Walks close. Home runs close. RBIs, could have got there. It looks like Ray made a run over this weekend. And I think, like I said, Trout had, out of his last 12 at-bats, he went 8 for 12 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs, some ridiculous Trout number that only he could attain. And then Ohtani went off trying to show everybody that his UCL tear was not going to stop him from being a hitter, and he did. So now pitching, like I said, 1 start for Joe. Looking at Joe's team, it was that Rodriguez start. Kluber, DeGrom is 1-2, showed out. DeGrom got him a no decision, but 6 strikeouts, quality start, 1.5 ERA. Kluber win, 10 Ks, 1.35 ERA. 10.00 K to walk ratio with a quality start. So his 1-2 matched Scherzer and Price, because I think Nola of the 3 for Eric had the worst start, but we'll take any of that start for any of our other teams. But Rodriguez got him a loss, 13.5 ERA. And I think that was the difference that could have made this a closer matchup, where the stolen bases, where they tied, would have made it more of a difference. And the other couple close offensive categories could have brought it to the end of this weekend. But yeah, he had a quality start from Archer, Joe. We talked about it on Saturday. and it was I think that was a toss-up. If it was me, I would have went with Rodriguez too. He's on the Red Sox or first place. It wasn't a poor manager selection. Archer, we talked about in the last video, he 5+ ERA over the last month and a losing record. So wasn't the wrong decision. Just Ray's team did what Ray's team was going to do, and yeah, you did what you had to do. So big ups to you, Joe. You were right in it all the way up until I think Thursday, where Ray's team started heating up, and then it was after that it was a done story. Ray, your team again. This is what we were talking about with your team. You set your lineup, and he stood on top of it. Now Altuve went 3 for 16. That can flip any day. He's coming back from that injury, and he's only getting better every week. I think Longoria was a good acquisition, serviceable third baseman, and with Boshi behind him, he's always going to play well. They don't check out. Hey, JD, 3 for 16. So you know what? 2 big players for Ray had a combined 6 hits this week. So if things were going to go your way, Joe, the leader of the MVP went 3 for 16, and last year's MVP went 3 for 16. So I mean, you couldn't hope for more than that. But Trout went 9 for 16, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, stolen base. And man, George Springer came back with a tear. Got him went 10 for 22, 455 average, but no RBIs and no home runs. But Shohei Ohtani, he showed that UCL tear was not going to inhibit him as Showtime Ohtani. And he took he went offensively on you, man. And he lit it up with his bat. 9 for 19, 9 hits, 8 runs scored, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 474 average, 24 total bases, walked 4 times, and stole 2 bases. So hit every category and made substantial contributions. So I would say Ohtani, the Angels for Ray. Bet you love that shit, huh? But the Angels for Ray won him his matchup. And then, of course, his pitching. I mean, if you're going to beat Ray, you got to hope you can match him and take it to Sunday. If you could take it to Sunday on Ray, that is, I think, your best chance. Because to say Ray, I mean, for JD and Altuve to do that this week is going to be rare. Either you hope that Ray's whole team slumps, because clearly 2 or 3 guys can hold his matchup offensively. It's either his whole team slumps or you take it and keep up with him toe-to-toe all the way to Sunday. And because his pitching, let's look at that next. Price, no decision, 10 strikeouts, 2.84 ERA, quality start. Scherzer, win, no decision. So he had 2 starts this week, went 16 innings. A win, no decision, 22 strikeouts, 17 allowed total bases. So he struck out more than he allowed on base, which is Scherzer. 3.38 ERA, 2 quality starts, and a 22.00 K to walk ratio. That is ridiculous. I think that means he didn't walk anybody, right? And then Nola got him 7 innings, a win, quality start, 3.86 ERA with 8 strikeouts. So, I mean, closer-wise, he has vulnerability, but you got to hope your starting pitcher goes toe-to-toe with him, because let's say he puts in Foltynewicz. I'm going to look at Foltynewicz. Yeah, I think I'm saying his name right, Foltynewicz, but Braves are in the hunt right now, so he's going to be good. So he just has to play his matchups right. So, cheers, Ray. Great week. But again, you did everything right, Joe. You set your lineups. I think you picked your number 1 and 2 are great. And I didn't give love to Kluber last time, but I should give love to Kluber because I had him. For the Cy Young year. And I froze him, and I did trade him away, but granted, I traded for him when he got the Cy Young. He is a stud. He's an ace of a team in first place. So year 1-2, I did not give enough love to Mr. Corey, but DeGrom and Corey Kluber were money and a great 1-2 for the playoffs. So It's just that picking that third starter. And again, I would have picked Rodriguez. He plays for Boston. So that's that matchup. Ray came out on top. Now let's look at my matchup with the commish. Not going to go into, we went into it enough on the group me. Okay, me and Joe talked a little bit about it. You know, if I'm going to say one thing, you know, if I had agreed with everybody and Dale, you know, Dale said, you know what, if you want to implement punishment or, you know, any kind of action to be done on my team that could, you know, in response to the players that were set, he would have done it. You know, he hit me up multiple times and made it very clear to me that I had that choice, and I decided that no, I accounted myself for not being at the meetings and not knowing the rules, and I played my 3 pitchers, and that was it. But if he would have implemented things and let's say he forfeited, he would have lost. But we didn't, and he lost. So you could say it, for those that were, you know, believe that Dale did it wrong. I think what ended up happening, and I'll go into it, you know, I hope people can see that, hey, it's done, we move on. And again, Dale, I had no problem with it. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But looking at the matchup, I won 14-4. Correa is going tonight for Dale. I don't see him doing any effect in the offensive stats unless he gets 3 home runs. But I'm up 3 home runs on that. I swept the offensive stats this week. Dale, a lot of things out of his control. He had multiple games postponed due to weather. You can't do too much about that. And with all the other guys hurt or not starting on his bench, he had no flexibility. Josh Donaldson won't play until next week. So a lot of things contributed to Dale not being able to manage his team to his full potential. So again, postponed games, weather helped me, hurt him. But I ended up sweeping the offensive categories. I got, you know, every category, I think, except for home runs was on my side. It went back and forth at the beginning, you know, but I think he made it close. But once that first round of games got postponed, you know, with the Cubs and the Nationals, and then it happened again today. So, you know, it's nothing that your team couldn't compete. It was out of your hands. And then the pitching. Now, he did have, you know, Maeda going as relief pitcher, and that ended up hurting him in the beginning of the week. And Ross ended up hurting him, cost him an ERA, allowed me to get a jump on the ERA. He took a win today with his closer, so he took wins 3-2. I took losses. I got, you know, I love my closers, and Diaz and Trennan have been awesome. They got me 4 saves, and yeah, I mean, Dale got the quality starts. I didn't get a single quality start this week. Close, and but you know, he took 4 categories in pitching, and that's about it. So again, I was hoping for a good matchup, and it wasn't anything that, you know, your team was better than, you know, my team was better than yours or vice versa. It's just out of your hands. So cheers for you, feeling you, bro. So looking at, I'm going to do a little bit of a sigh of relief kind of thing for each matchup. I'm hoping I can breathe a sigh of relief. Syndergaard took a shot to the ribs. X-rays came up negative, but that's my number 2. So I'm hoping I can breathe a sigh of relief and he gets to start next week. I might have to skip his start because he might not be 100%, and they will not let him throw more than, I think, 85 pitches. There's no way. it's either he goes 5 innings or 85 pitches. So that's going to be a tough one for me. But I'm hoping, knock on wood, if I get to the championship, he'll be fully back. And Ray, I'll just do the winners. Ray can breathe a sigh of relief that Ohtani didn't get shut down. I mean, he is contributing offensively. Clearly, it's not affecting his swing. So, he can definitely breathe a sigh of relief that Ohtani came in and is showtime. And I think it's just, again, awesome that the Angels won it for the Angel fan. So, well done, Ray. Let's go into next week a little bit since I'm running Han Solo today. I'm going to go into next week. Now, if it goes by the scoring that we said, where, I won 14-4 and Dale and Ray, if it holds down, I'll win 14-4 and Ray will win 15-2. He'll have the highest point differential in his win and will play the number 2 team, and I'll play the number 1 team. So it looks, I guess, because he's won by 13 points and I won by 10 points, I will play the first seed. So I thought I was going to play AJ, but it looks like I'm going to play Adam. Yeah, because he's the 1 seed and I had the least amount of points won in my matchup. So it'll be Anthony against Adam. I played him once this season. I was able to come up on top, but he is the defending champion for a reason, and he's the number 1 seed for a reason, and won $1,000 and won the season for a fucking reason. So if it does go by that scoring, I play you, Adam, Viola Nation. Shout out to you, man. Again, first seed, big ups. And then Ray will play the other guy on boy. AJ, it looks like you will play Ray if it goes by that scoring. So I want to look at each matchup, player by matchup, where the advantages, and go offensively and pitching. First off, Ray against AJ. Ray's got Scherzer, Price, I think are his 1-2. And then whether he wants to start Nola or Fulton Woods, I think he's going to start Nola. Nola's the Cy Young contender. Fulton Woods is in the top 6, I think, NL pitching this year. So it's a toss-up. Flip a coin, whatever matchup works best for you, bro. But I think Ray's got the pitching. Hitting is going to be, I think, closer than we anticipate, depending on how AG manages his lineup. I'm going to give him a high five for Ray. A high five being Altuve, Ohtani, Trout, JD, and Altuve. Altuve, Trout, Ohtani, JD, and Springer. Fuck, any 5. But AJ, AJ, he can, I think, match those numbers. I know you guys might say, "Oh, you're his brother and you're playing favoritism," but AJ has Chris Davis, who hit 40 knocks. Okay, so let me bring up AJ's lineup. So 5 players for AJ: Carpenter, who's money this year; Justin Turner, money; Chris Davis, money. If he gets hot, I think Trey Turner can do it. I mean, he's been getting better the last couple weeks. I know I talk shit because he was man crushing on him the whole year, but the last 2 weeks he's putting up stats. So Trey Turner could match Altuve the way Altuve's stats have been kind of low. So hey, it could happen. It's very reasonable to assume that could happen. They can steal bases, both of them. They can get on base. They can score runs. And then the 5th guy for AJ, if he gets Judge back, if he can get Judge back, and there's a notification on Judge. Scheduled to take batting practice in the middle of the upcoming week. No Judge. No Judge for AJ. So that's going to be hard. That 5 guy. I mean, Markakis is having a great year. So I'm saying maybe Markakis. But he could match up the stats offensively. And then pitching-wise for AJ, you're going against Scherzer, Price, and Nola. Verlander, Clevenger, Greinke. It can easily be done. Easily be done. Verlander, Greinke, Clevenger. Damn, that pumps me up for that matchup to see his pitchers going against Rays pitchers, because those are some of the best pitchers in the league. Clevenger, he's not going to match up with a 3 for Ray, but I think he could get a quality start, get a win, and get him 7-8 strikeouts. That's a reasonable prediction for Clevenger. And if you get that, and you get like get a quality start of like, a 3.0 ERA where you allow only 3 runs, over 6 innings, fucking take it, man, because that could do it. You get every start, you get a win, quality start, 7 to 8 strikeouts on a first place team with the Indians. You can easily get that. And with Greinke, he's great. Greinke and, I think Greinke and Nola could wash each other, and Scherzer and Verlander could wash each other. I mean, that's going to be a great pitching matchup. I really hope it's Ray against AJ, because that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. And I think AJ's got the closing. Ray doesn't have closers, and AJ has Kimbrel. So that's going to be a good matchup if it does come down to AJ versus Ray. I'm really excited about that one. If you guys are keeping up, just take a look at it throughout the week. It could be interesting. Now going to my matchup with Adam. Adam, I think it's a split, man. I know I'm favoring my team, but Arenado, Jose Ramirez. Arenado, I give the advantage. He's Arenado, he's the shit. But Ramirez is pretty damn good too. Lindor, Story. MLB just highlighted how these guys are the top 2 shortstops, 1 in each league right now. So that's interesting. Castellanos, fucking man, that was a great trade. But good player. Matt Olson doing all right this year. Any Oakland A, I think, is going to be good. And Garcia from the White Sox, man. Great fucking, I think you added him. Great ad. Guys, on the White Sox, you think their team morale is down and people are just playing for fun. Sometimes that works. And he is having fun and playing fucking good stats. Let me bring up his stats, because I know you want to shout out for him. Garcia's hitting .314 with 2 home runs, 8 RBIs over his last 14 days. Season stats. He doesn't play all the time, but he's heated up, and he's doing pretty good. Corey Dickerson, solid, good. Villar, surprise. Oh, but man, DeJong, Cardinal, damn, good player. Sneaky fantasy stats with these guys, man. DeJong and Castellanos, I think those are 2. You got the under radar player awards. That Castellanos, I think, is people know about him, but DeJong, man, fucking good player fantasy wise. Not the average, but hitting the long ball this year, can hit 20 home runs. So props to you. And then you got Carrasco through, I think, 12 strikeouts this week. And I mentioned him last week that Carrasco, I think, was your trending up player that brought you to the playoffs. So Carrasco and Garrett Cole, 2 good pitchers on good teams. Hey, I don't know what the schedule looks like, but that'd be great if they face each other, at least for me. And then, Chapman's got a notification. Chapman's return this season remains in question, but he's making progress. Okay. I think advantage me, closers. But big ups to you, Adam. I can't wait to play. Now my team. First base, Mitch Moreland is, man, start off hot, but man, that's a struggle right there. Chris Bryant's coming back for me at third base. Rotate him in the outfield. And Jose Ramirez rotate at second and third. Trevor Story, obviously, having a great year for me. Sin-Soo Choo shot up high, dropped a little, but working his way back up. McCutcheon's the Yankee now. Had 2 home runs since he joined the Yankees. That was a surprise. Malik Smith. People are like, who's the fuck Malik Smith? You know what? Look him up. Let me tell you a little about Malik Smith, all right? Malik Smith this year, 120 hits, 36 RBIs, 30 home runs, batting .302. So scored 53 times, 120 hits, 30 stolen bases. That's who Malik Smith is. Okay, so I'm really pumped up about him. I think he cost me like $3. And Michael Brantley. So Scope can be feasible and Ciarte feasible. And so now again, I think you got the advantage pitching because Syndergaard got hurt. I give you the advantage. I think I give me the advantage hitting, just slightly. But I think you got the advantage pitching wise because Carrasco's heating up. Cole is having the best career season stats of his career. And Syndergaard, he's day to day and he might not play, which means I have Snell, I have Arrieta, who's okay, and I got a toss up with that third starter in John Gray or Ronaldo Lopez. Kennedy came back for me today through 6, quality start, but he's on the Royals, and Sean Newcomb, who's on the Braves, he's been up and down too. So advantage you pitching for sure, but it comes down to being the better manager, I think, this year. And so good luck to you, man. Good luck to all the playoffs teams going to the semifinals next week. Really pumped up, guys. Again, let's get it done. Thank you for watching these videos. And those guys who give me a shout, I appreciate it. Cheers to the playoff, guys. Next round. And then a toast to my homies one more time. Dale and Joe, great season.